This is hands down the craziest video that I've seen all day. It was unearthed by Jordan Schachtel. You guys know I'm a huge fan of his work. You can subscribe to all of his investigative reporting at the dossier at .substack.com. But after yesterday's Republican debate, there were a lot of comments, especially online, about the moderators, because the moderators asked such dumb questions, yet they were supposed to be from Fox News. They were handpicked, actually, by the RNC. They were supposed to be Republicans. Dana Perino, it specifically, I think one of her clips went viral when she asked all the candidates who they would vote off the island. I don't even care about all of that. I want to show you this video of Dana Perino from 2 weeks ago. You think that these are conservatives because the RNC handpicked them as moderators. You think they're conservatives because they work at Fox News. No. This is Dana Perino 2 weeks ago at the Clinton Global Initiative. Yes, the Clinton Global Initiative, personally introducing at the podium Hillary Clinton as, and I quote, the amazing Hillary Clinton. Take a look at this.
Of our organization was somebody that you are here to see, the amazing Secretary Hillary Clinton. Here she is.
The amazing Hillary Clinton, and look at how she's embracing her. That's not the embrace of a journalist who's simply greeting a subject. That is the embrace of a fangirl. You know what this means? You know what this tells me? This tells me that it wasn't an accident that these questions at the debate were stupid. It wasn't an accident that they didn't say anything about January 6th, anything about the weaponization of the Department of Justice, pretty much nothing about COVID and the tyrannical dictates that were imposed on us. This is who Fox News and the RNC want to question the Republican candidates, because Fox News and the RNC don't want actual conservative candidates for president. They don't want a authentically conservative nominee for president. They don't even want a real conservative as president. They just want a uniparty elitist. And we saw that with their questions, but how much more proof do you need? Dana Perino introducing Hillary Clinton at the Clinton Global Initiative as the amazing Hillary Clinton. Case closed. New York Times put out a fact check. They might have even put it out Wednesday night, actually. It might have been a real-time fact check, but it went viral on Thursday following the debate. And they fact checked this, and read this. So this is what they're fact checking, his comment. Transgenderism, especially in kids, is a mental health disorder. They cited that to Vivek Ramaswamy. They then say this is false. So fact check by New York Times, but listen to what they write. Being transgender, according to the New York Times, is not a mental health disorder. Many transgender people experience gender dysphoria or psychological distress as a result of the incongruence between their sex and their gender identity. Gender dysphoria is a diagnosis in the Psychiatric Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders and can be given to children, adolescents, or adults. What the heck? Wait a second. So it's not a mental health disorder, says the New York Times, but it is a diagnosis in the DSM-5. Wait a second. Is there a contradiction there? Don't they read what they write? Do they not see that they have completely contradicted themselves? They probably don't even recognize it. They're so intellectually compromised by this ideology, but I think it's hilarious. I actually appreciate that they did that because it made Vivek's comments go viral again. So even more people saw the truth about what transgenderism really, truly is. The other thing that was trending on X the day after the debate was Porky Pig. And at first I was like, oh, what is this? Is this something that I don't get? Or is this some pop culture reference that I missed? And I clicked on it. And Porky Pig was trending because of Chris Christie's attempted insult, we'll call it, of Donald Trump when Chris Christie called him Donald Duck. And the worst insult on the face of the earth. So embarrassing, so awful. Well, apparently X, formerly known as Twitter, were like, yeah, it's funny that you would call someone Donald Duck there, Porky Pig. And this is trending higher than Donald Duck. So to say that it backfired on Chris Christie is just a smidge funny. Just a smidge funny. I don't understand why Chris Christie is running for president. He's just running on this anti-Trump vendetta. He's obviously not going to win. He's already been governor. I don't know what he wants or what he's pursuing in life besides another table full of donuts. But the fact that Porky Pig was trending, hilarious, absolutely hilarious. You'll also notice, and I didn't talk about this yesterday, but I do think it's worth talking about, that nowhere in the debate did anyone mention January 6th or the weaponization of the federal government. And I don't solely blame the moderators for this. They should have asked about it, of course, because this is one of the most important issues in our country right now. It's an issue that the Republican base cares about. Fox News fired Tucker Carlson over coverage about it, so maybe that's why the Fox News moderators didn't mention it. Maybe the RNC didn't want to talk about it because the RNC just wants elitists and not conservatives. But what I was really disappointed by is that none of the candidates brought it up on their own. Like, when you're preparing for a debate, you don't just prepare answers that are direct answers to the question, right? Like, you're not just spitting out facts that exist on your website. When you're asked a question in any kind of interview or any kind of debate, you get to decide what you want to say. So if it's a dumb question, you can answer whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. You don't just have to answer like yes or no. You can bring up a topic if you feel that the topic is relevant, even if the question isn't related to it. And I, frankly, was quite disappointed that none of these Republican candidates, when they were asked stupid questions, like, for example, when Dana Perino said, which of your fellow candidates would you want to vote off the island? Why didn't one of the candidates step up and be like, I can't believe you're asking me this when you haven't asked me about January 6th, when you haven't asked me about all of these January 6th defendants that are still in pretrial detention, that have been sentenced to 2 decades in prison, some of whom weren't even at the Capitol when the rioting happened. I can't believe you're not asking me about the weaponization of the DOJ, how they've labeled parents as domestic terrorists just for challenging school boards. These candidates have in their power. I mean, this was a long debate. It was 2 hours. All these candidates got quite a bit of time to talk. And I know there was a lot on the stage, but if you add up the amount of time that they talked, there was plenty of time to bring up topics that these candidates felt the American people and the Republican base should hear. And yet they didn't. And I find that disappointing because what I want in a politician, and maybe we should do an entire episode about the ideal Republican candidate, basically this unicorn that we want to run for president, how he would behave, what he would say, the policies that he would promote. Maybe we should create this fantasy politician in a whole episode, and then we should have that as the standard upon which we judge all of the presidential candidates who actually don't deserve our votes and won't save our country. So maybe we should do that. But it's very disappointing and disheartening to me that none of these candidates brought this up on their own, even though it seems to me they had plenty of opportunities. I mean, they wasted time talking about Nikki Haley's curtain gate. That was, I mean, listen, I'm very critical of Nikki Haley because I think she's never met a war that she doesn't like. But the curtain gate thing was a deliberate attack by the New York Times that was so thoroughly debunked. She didn't buy these expensive curtains. They were purchased by the Democrat who held her office before her in the Obama administration, that even the New York Times issued a correction at the bottom of that article saying we shouldn't have put Nikki Haley's name or her photo associated with this story. It wasn't accurate to associate her with it, and we have retracted it. Tim Scott spent his time, he has this valuable time in front of the Republican base at this debate, and he spent it bringing that up instead of the weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI and what's happened to the January 6th defendants and even the charges against Trump. I mean, how hard would it have been for one of these candidates to say, listen, we all wish that Trump was here and we'd like to challenge him to a debate, but let's get one thing straight. We're on the same side. He is the target of a witch hunt, and because they're going after him, just because he's a political opponent doesn't make us applaud that. We know that he is simply the next one standing in the way, that it's him first, then us, and then you. None of them said that. They all had the opportunity, and none of them took that opportunity, and I find that very disheartening. So like I said, maybe we'll do a full episode creating our fantasy president of the United States and try to hold all of these candidates to the standard of what the perfect politician and president ought to be.